Hi everyone. So I wanted to go live to chat about, actually don't know why. Okay. I wanted to go live to chat about, hi Brandy. I wanted to go live to chat about the new moon in Virgo that's coming up. I actually thought it was today, but it's actually tomorrow. Hi sister. Let me see if I can love on your comment. Woot woot. I can do that. Cool. So I'm going to kind of pop back and forth between the chat and let me actually pull this up on my phone really quick so I can also check what you guys are looking at. So much going on astrologically. First of all, yesterday was my birthday, as a lot of you know, August 28th, so that was very good. I had a very relaxing day by creating a lot of space, having boundaries, and just really creating space to be able to allow for relaxation. That was a big part of my birthday. So let me see, I'm going to cue this up here on my phone. Okay, good. So I am here on Cafe Astrology, and you guys can see here August 30th. So at 6:37 a.m., we have a new moon in Virgo at 6 degrees. So I pulled up the chart for that here. And I might even show you guys a little bit of what a synastry chart looks like as well. And I'm probably going to keep this to a half hour, maybe a little under. We'll see how we do. So if you're here watching, leave a comment in the chat so I can know that you're here. And feel free to let me know how things are going for you. For me, it's been good but crazy. And I swear it feels like a Mercury retrograde. And I know other people have been saying something similar. So I was joking to Brandy, my really good friend, that it's like, this is what it feels like to be me, but like times four, because I'm a super Virgo. And with this new moon in Virgo, it's like all up on my sun, Venus, my Mars. So it's just, yeah, I agree, sister. It's like, it's a lot, really is a lot. But the medicine right now is getting shit done. That is the medicine, is work and being of service and applying yourselves to do the things, get things organized, get things underway. The other side of that is to watch for being overly critical of yourself, overly perfectionistic about it. And when you find yourself getting too much into that, to practice de-stressing and surrendering techniques, because then you'll know that you're too much in the Virgo, you know? So let's look at the chart for this new moon. So this chart, I put this at the exact time that it's supposed to be a new moon. And we're not going to be talking about house system. Oh, how funny. The Venus is on the ascendant in this chart, though. Love that. Venus on the ascendant brings beauty and just a pleasing demeanor, pleasing to interact with. So that's pretty funny. But we're not really going to talk about like ascendant, descendant, midheaven, IC, or houses with this Astro walkthrough, because we're just talking about the placement of the planets. Although I guess technically we could, because this is the chart. Technically, I actually could talk about it because this is the chart of that exact time. So at the exact time of the new moon, it's going to be a very Venus ruled energy, because we have Venus on the ascendant. And how crazy that this new moon is actually exact on my Venus, which I may even show you guys. I think that would be fun for you to see what a synastry chart looks like. But you could see here that we have this big pileup. So we have Sun. Now it looks like they're in Leo. They're not. You want to look at the little hashes, or the they're not really hashtags, they're like tick marks, really. You want to look at those. So actually everything here is pretty much almost exclusively in Virgo. Mercury moved into Virgo, I believe today. Yes, August 29th, 3:48 a.m. So very late last night / early this morning, Mercury moved into Virgo. And look how fast Mercury moved, that it's already at 2 degrees and it just moved into Virgo. So crazy. So you could see here, I know I can't highlight for you guys, but you can see here, so the sun, at the time of the new moon, the sun is at 6 degrees of Virgo, the moon is at 6 degrees of Virgo. You also have Mercury at 2 degrees of Virgo. Oh, you know why it's at 2 degrees? I'm all over the place today. It's at 2 degrees because I ran this chart for Friday, August 30th. So even though Mercury actually moved in to Virgo late last night / early this morning, it will be 2 degrees by tomorrow. So if I was to overlay the transits onto this, this should tell me for right now, where are the planets? And you could see that by this, the moon is at the very last degrees of Leo. Yep, 28 degrees of Leo, so it's on its last legs in Leo. And Mercury is actually at 1 degree in Virgo today. So Mercury does move really, really fast. Like 1 degree a day is crazy, crazy fast in astrology, right? So, but let's take the transits off because that makes things a little more complicated. And I just want to focus this for you guys on the new moon. So we've got this beautiful new moon in Virgo. We've got also Mars here. So this is technically, and I know these are miniaturized, but it's because there's a big pileup of energy in one spot. So we have Sun, Moon, Mars, and also Pars Fortunae. And technically I can even loop the Venus in there. So we have this big pileup of energy in Virgo, right? Sun, Moon, Mars, Pars Fortunae, which is a good luck asteroid, and also Venus. So, you know, this is a very busy, busy, active time. Virgo is mutable Earth. So what does that mean? Mutable means changeable. It means that it's literally, if we think about Virgo, it's when we're shifting. We're not quite in summer full on, but we're definitely not in fall full on. We're like in between. Some days might feel like summer, some days might feel like fall. The mutable signs, which are Virgo, Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius, all of those are transitional signs. They are part of the wheel of the year in which things are changing, right? So if we take Virgo, it's the hinging point between summer and fall. Libra, it's the start of fall. That's a cardinal sign. That's initiating energy. Pisces is the transition from winter into spring. Pisces, the end of Pisces brings us to Aries, which is the beginning of spring. Then we have Sagittarius. That's the transition from fall into winter, right? The end of Sagittarius or Yule brings us into Capricorn season, which is cardinal Earth, and that's the start of winter. And then, who did I forget? Gemini. Gemini is at basically the end of spring, transitioning into summer. But Cancer is cardinal water, and that's actually what initiates the summer season. So this is a time of a lot of changeability. This is also a very Mercury-ruled time because Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so there's a lot of communication going on. I'm wondering too, with these vibes that feel like Mercury retrograde, if it's not even so much that things are slowed down, it's just that the energy wants to move so fast and not everything can keep up with that. It might be something like that, you know? It's like reminding me of kind of what happens with me when I have coffee one day and then the next day I feel really tired and lethargic. But it's like, actually, I might have my regular baseline amount of energy. It's just that because I was hyped up on the coffee the day before, the next day that I'm not having it, it feels like slower. So there might be something going on like that, where Virgo is very, very like brainy and like thinking and analyzing and communicating and talking and figuring things out all the time. And that's Virgo's realm, is like, let's talk, let's figure it out, let's get the details, let's get it organized, let's get it underway. There's also a big service component to Virgo, so it's about helping people. Being the shadow side can be kind of people pleasing, but Libra gets into that even more so. Virgo is really about showing up, doing the work, but Virgo wants to have the answers. It wants to have the details sorted out. And sometimes when the details aren't all sorted out and it's not like all in alignment and all the ducks aren't in a row, Virgo can get really frustrated and fussy, right? I'm a very strong Virgo, so I understand this very well. So sometimes the medicine too is about understanding how to self-soothe when we become like overly fussy or perfectionistic. And looking at this energy together, so, you know, having Mars here right with the Sun conjunct Mars in and of itself is very, very, very active, right? I'm actually a Sun conjunct Mars, so that makes me slightly like Arian, in a way, kind of like a little Aries bent, because I want to be taking action. I want to be taking initiative. So this energy is very much about forward movement and taking initiative, right? We've also got Venus here at 11 degrees. And because this is all so close together, this is also part of this story because it's only within 5 degrees of the sun and the moon. So there's a lot coming up around interpersonal relationships and topics like beauty and money, projects, people. This definitely can be career related because Venus is our relationship with money. So this could be talking about, you know, anything from like friendships, relationships, people partnerships to careers, contracts, money, gifts, any of these things. I do find it interesting that by this chart at that time, the Venus actually comes up on the ascendant in Virgo. So there's also this component to this new moon that is about honoring your beauty, honoring the way in which you're beautiful for who you are, even if it's a humble way that you're honoring yourself. So I think this is a good time to make sure that you're taking time to like eat positive, nourishing foods for yourself, to give yourself loving self-talk, you know, listening to positive affirmations, putting on beautiful rings or jewelry that makes you feel good, adorning yourself to look beautifully and feel beautiful, and really just kind of celebrating some of the energy of Venus, because I see that that's a big part of what this new moon is about. Now, otherwise, what's cooking with this is the square over to Jupiter. So a lot of Virgos have been feeling this because Sagittarius is mutable fire. So the mutable signs, with the exception of the opposition, because that's like a different story, the mutable signs they create a square, right? So that's a 90-degree aspect, which creates some tension, some friction, some challenges that have to be worked through. So you could see here that Venus is within about 4 degrees squaring Jupiter in Sagittarius. I'm so glad that Jupiter has moved to 15 degrees of Sagittarius because it was hovering at 14 degrees Sagittarius forever. At least it felt like that to me. And that is the exact placement of my Saturn. So I have been under this Jupiter-Saturn transit with Jupiter and Sag all of this year. But when it was exact on my Saturn, I'm still very much feeling it. But when it was exact on my Saturn, it was like a magnifying glass over it. So I'm grateful, happy that it's moving off that spot. I'm happy about that. Even if the pressure is still on, at least it's moving. But you can see here that we have this square. So Venus square Saturn, or sorry, it's not Saturn, Venus square Jupiter. This means that we have to watch for sometimes doing things in excess. So harsh aspects to Jupiter can like create, it can inflate Jupiter or like aggravate the positive effects of Jupiter. So Venus square Jupiter could be maybe like over-inflating perfectionistic tendencies around opportunities that are trying to come through. Are you trying to be overly perfectionistic? And if we look at the placement of these in the chart, Venus in the first house, Jupiter in the fourth. So there's a lot of fire energy in the home right now, also as it relates to family and belief systems within that. And we look at Venus in the first in Virgo. So this is like, hey, I want to show up as my beautiful self. I want to be seen. I want to be of service. So there could be even like some tension here within a family or within the home environment that's going on. But looking at some of the other planets, you know, a little bit Mars square Jupiter, but that will start to strengthen over the coming days. Let's see if that's actually plotted on here. I don't know if it is. Yeah, I don't think so. I could try to figure that out for you guys. Let's see. Let's play with that a bit. So let's go back here. Let's see, when will we have Mars square Jupiter? So let's change the transits to be like September 12th. September 11th, I was feeling, September 11th or 12th. And let's look at where Mars will be. So Mars will be at, wow, we're spot on. Mars will be at 15 degrees of Virgo. and Jupiter will be at 15 degrees of Sag. Wow, I sometimes can't get over my intuition. So yeah, around September 11th, September 12th, we're going to have Mars square Jupiter. That will be a little bit more harshly felt than Venus square Jupiter, because Mars is aggravating energy, can be like aggressive energy. Venus is softer energy. So a Venus square Jupiter is going to be a bit of a softer, if even like too extra of energy as compared to Mars square Jupiter. It's still going to be extra energy, but it might carry this like slightly more intense energy to it, if that makes sense, like in a potentially more yang or aggressive way. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It could just be like, oops, I definitely didn't want to do August 11th. Let's go back. Doesn't have to be aggressive, but it's more projective energy, whereas Venus is more receptive energy, you know. Let's do this again. Okay. So let's go back over here. So we have that Venus square Jupiter for the new moon. Mars square Jupiter, not so much, although in the coming 10 days or so, we'll start to feel that. But the good news is that by the time that's happening, Venus will be lessening its square to Jupiter, although it'll probably start kind of moving closer, so it might still be in play, actually. Other positives about this, so this is a bit of a tense aspect, but honestly, not that bad comparatively, because it's Venus and Jupiter, which in astrology are considered the two benefics. They're positive planets that provide beauty and abundance and softer, more positive energy generally. But just watch for doing things in excess, or watch for like being overly critical, maybe of like the way family members think or believe or things like that. You know, because this kind of carries like a Mercury square Jupiter, so this could be like excesses of communication or talking or things like that. But overall, we have, you know, this really beautiful grand trine, amazing energy here. So we have Saturn at 14 degrees of Capricorn, the south node's there, and Pluto, south node and Pluto, south node's been moving through this space like all year. Pluto is retrograde, actually, has not been budging too much. Pluto moves very slow. So these have been long-standing aspects, particularly the Pluto and somewhat the Saturn. But we want to look at Saturn here. So Saturn's at 14 degrees of Capricorn, and Venus is at 11. So this is within 3 degrees trine. So Saturn is providing that support. It's providing that rock to get things done, to persevere. Capricorn is perseverance. It's going up the mountain. Virgo is about making sure you have all the gear. Capricorn is like the drill sergeant that's like helping you continue to go, and like snow is falling on your face and you're cold and your fingers are frozen and all the things, right? But Virgo and Capricorn have that common bond of hard work and wanting to achieve things. They want to get things done. They're of the earth, right? So this is good. This is really supportive energy here. And not so much Saturn, you know, I mean, Saturn is such an important planet, as are the sun and the moon, the luminaries, that to an extent they're also key players in this trine, but it's really Venus we're looking at that's feeling it the strongest, the trine. So Venus trine Saturn is like support, right? Support as it relates to relationships and money and projects and people, all the things that Venus rules. So that's very, very good. With the exception of that little bit of stress on Venus squaring Jupiter. We also could see that we have some of this energy opposing Neptune in Pisces. I also plotted the dark moon Lilith, which is like the repressed feminine. So actually, if we look at that, asteroids, we want to give a very narrow orb, right? So like 1 or 2 degrees. It depends which asteroid is involved. But you could see here that we kind of have an opposition going on. Although it hasn't actually plotted it on Astro.com. I don't know if Astro.com actually plots aspects to the asteroids, with the exception of Chiron. Good question. I don't think it does, actually. So I would consider this an opposition, Venus opposed Lilith. So watch for ways in which your subconscious feelings might come out, right? Because this is like repressed energy, the repressed feminine. Pisces is the subconscious. So there might be some ways in which you're having angst or frustration about things not working as efficiently as you would like. And there might be this kind of like repressed feminine emotion that's there. And what you want to do is not necessarily suppress that further. You kind of want to give yourself space to let some of those emotions come out in like a healthy way. So practicing de-stressing activities or practicing activities that help you to sometimes purge some of those really frustrated feelings, you know, because Lilith in Pisces, you know, and this is in the 7th house in this chart, which is the relationship house. This can be sometimes like aggression or, yeah, just like a repressed rage component within other people. But because it's in Pisces, this is like, it's unclear that it's there. It's subconscious. So this is a good time to be practicing things like EFT and surrendering techniques, to be loving on yourself, to balance some of that over perfectionism or over criticism that could come up in relationships or within situations one-on-one with people. But we also have a lot of good going on too. Like I said, the trine to Saturn with Venus, all of this beautiful work energy harmonizing with this, you know, these energies in Capricorn. Also, Uranus is a really, really big player in this new moon, because we have literally the sun and moon at 6 degrees and Uranus is at 6 degrees. Uranus is retrograde right now, but this is an exact trine. So this is a harmonious aspect because Uranus is in Taurus, which is the other earth player in the zodiac. Uranus provides innovation, excitement, spontaneity. So this is a time where, like it or not, new energy is coming in, sometimes unpredictable, sometimes excitable, sometimes like a little bit ungrounded. But like it or not, this new energy is coming in related to the earth element. So this is related to things like money, hard work, getting things done, getting things structured, getting things in order, having a plan, working the plan. You know, this could also be related to physical things of the earth, your relationship with food, your relationship with money, your relationship with tactile things, physical objects. Taurus also rules like luxury items too. So what specifically that is probably going to be based on your specific chart and what houses are involved and what's going on in your specific chart, you know. But we have this beautiful trine. So this is a grand trine because all 3 earth elements are involved. And we have a trine from Uranus in Taurus at 6 degrees exact onto the sun and moon. So that's very significant to say that we have this excitable, this electric energy coming in, revitalizing this new moon. So that's pretty cool. What else can I talk about here? We do have a square from Chiron to Saturn, but this is a very wide orb. This is like 10 degrees, so I'm not going to really talk about that too much. We do have Jupiter square Neptune within 2 degrees. These two, though, have been playing this dance where they're squaring each other on and off a lot this year. So this has been ongoing, which is about this push-pull between like belief systems and believing positively versus sometimes having those subconscious fears come through, or feeling like the guilt or like the repressed feelings come in, or on the reverse, maybe you're trying to like push a belief system. You know, Sagittarius energy is about belief systems, so it's like, are you trying to over push a belief system? But actually the medicine is the positive side of Pisces, right, which is surrender and oneness and compassion for all people. So that's the way that the squares work. It's that it's hard for these energies to be in balance. Unlike an opposition, where they actually help each other with balance, the square, they struggle with balance because it's not quite balanced, right? But nevertheless, they have things to learn from each other and they can work it out. It just takes a little bit more work. So technically in astrology, the square and the opposition are both considered tense or challenging aspects. But in my experience, the opposition has a much different flavor than the square. Probably the square is one of the harsher ones, to be honest. Although conjunctions, when 2 planets are with each other, can also be very challenging depending upon who's involved. Because imagine if it was you, right? There's certain people that you might be like kind of okay with getting stuck in a room with. There's certain people that you might love to get stuck in a room with. And then there's people that you would really not have a good time getting stuck in a room with. And the planets work the same way. So, let's see how we're doing on time. I think we're doing pretty good. Remember too that the North Node is in Cancer, so whenever you're feeling like really stuck in the South Node energy, which is like the forced, like I have to have the plan, you want to make sure that you remember that the North Node's transiting in Cancer, so it is about self-care, it is about loving yourself through all the changes. That is the medicine for all of this year, you know, and that's not really going away. So I think that's everything I have to say for this, you know, new moon in Virgo. I'll show you guys for fun, just before I kind of wrap up with this here, what a synastry chart looks like. I'm just checking on my phone where it, okay. So this is what a synastry chart looks like. Looks like it's just catching up. A couple quick seconds here. This is what a synastry chart looks like. So it's more complicated because we take the one wheel and we overlay a second wheel on top of it. So this is why it's really good to work with a professional astrologer, because you can see how astrology gets increasingly more complicated. So I've actually done this synastry chart with myself and my chart. You can see here, so I have Sun conjunct Venus conjunct Mars in my chart. My Mercury is a little further down. My Sun is at 4 degrees of Virgo, my Mars is at 3 degrees, and my Venus is at 6. So between 3 and 6 degrees, I have 3 major planets in my chart. And you can see here, my Venus is at 6 degrees, and this new moon in Virgo is at 6 degrees. So this new moon is affecting me very strongly because it's in alignment with my Venus. Venus conjunct the moon, though, is a very beautiful, harmonious aspect to have. This is like new beginnings as far as relationships, projects, money, places, people. You want to look at the placement of Venus. Where is that in the person's chart to determine like the specific qualities? But so this is like, you could see how this works, right? So for somebody like me who is a Virgo, has a lot of planets in Virgo, this particular new moon is really affecting me. But it's also affecting me in a positive way, even if it is a lot of excess of energy in an energy I already have a lot of. And then you could, of course, take things deeper and deeper with the synastry chart, because this is actually plotting the aspects within that synastry and all of that. So you could see that there's all of this is being electrified by that Uranus aspect. So a lot of energy is coming in, right? So that same energy that was coming in for the new moon, it's also affecting me and I'm benefiting from it. Also that Saturn energy, that Saturnian energy is coming in there, the strengthening of the square to Jupiter. So pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool. All right, so let's go back and let's just go back to the straight up natal chart for this new moon. And I think I'm gonna stop here. So thanks so much for tuning in. If you missed this live, definitely feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to know how this was for you. And I will also be downloading this and re-uploading this to my YouTube channel. And I should paste the link to that once I've got it all ready to go in the comments of this Facebook video. So if you like this, feel free to give it a like or a love, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And happy new moon, everyone. Enjoy the Virgo energy. Much love.